Anyhow, David Brock, Bernie Sanders, very quickly, and then I'll get to your calls. David Brock at Medium.com, he writes, "We who reject Trump's bankrupt leadership," and again, David Brock was arguably one of the most partisan is, I'm not sure is the right word, because it was Hillary versus Bernie, but so it was within the same party, but, partisans as in, my side versus your side, in the entire Clinton campaign, right? So this, which makes this all the more remarkable. David Brock writes, "We who reject Trump's bankrupt leadership must heal old wounds, reorient ourselves, and embrace common goals. And if there is one thing on this which we can all agree, it's this: we cannot concede any ground. Not to the alt-right, not to the Kochs, not to the Paul Ryan establishment, and not most of all to Donald Trump, our incoming kleptocrat-in-chief. We must unify in resistance." He says, "Senator Sanders, we need you to continue to be a voice of reason in a world that has spun out of control. You have consistently devoted yourself," and this is fascinating because he gets into the fairness doctrine here. He says, "You have consistently devoted yourself to ensuring a free and fair press. In your House days, I remember you being one of the few to attend a congressional hearing about the fairness doctrine, where despite a mostly empty room, you posed thoughtful and penetrating questions. You introduced a bill to restore that doctrine, to guard against wildly biased and inaccurate media outlets, and how prescient that concern was. In this past election, we saw the media abdicate its vital public mission, cynically fueling Trump's candidacy for money and ratings." This was the point of my big rant yesterday. He said, David Brock then continues his letter to Bernie Sanders. He says, "We need you to continue holding the corporate media's feet to the fire. One of the signature issues of your campaign was getting money out of politics. Even though I run a super PAC, I am with you on this. I'd love to get out of the business, but not while the Republicans are permitted super PACs. The playing field must be level. You have long sounded the alarm and called out puppet masters like the billionaire Koch brothers. I agree that their cash poisons our democracy. Together, we can resist the predatory billionaires that Donald Trump seeks to install in his cabinet. We need you, Senator Sanders, to use your position and pulpit in the Senate to remind the nation of who was most hurt in the last financial crisis and who stands to be victimized by the next one. Now, if I may, this is, again, David Brock writing from the Clinton campaign. Now, if I may, let me speak directly to your supporters. If you voted for Senator Sanders, you almost certainly realize that Trump is a very real threat to our way of life, our shared values, and our constitutional democracy. We are all now small d Democrats. What was said in the heat of the campaign cannot drive us apart in the face of such an overwhelming threat. Senator Sanders, David Brock writes, "We need to be bold and united. Without fear or hesitation, we must oppose Trump. We must stand up for and defend our shared values. The progressive movement is strong and growing, thanks in large part to your candidacy, Senator Sanders, which electrified so many voters. The bedrock American values you championed of pluralism, equality, and opportunity are ones I share, and I hope that we can be partners in the fight ahead. Sincerely, David Brock." That is a letter that I never thought I'd see, and I'm just blown away by this. So, I signed up for Our Revolution. OurRevolution.com is the website. It's kind of Bernie's not directly involved because Senate ethics rules prevent him from being directly involved. But I got an email from Our Revolution yesterday, from the Bernie's thing, here. It says, "Tom, during this campaign, Trump promised he would make no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. He said it would be unfair to the people who have been paying into those programs for years. Now, Republicans have proposed a budget that would throw 30 million Americans off their health insurance. They want to privatize Medicare, raise prescription costs, and reduce Social Security benefits, which serve as the primary source of income for the majority of seniors." Tomorrow, that would be today, because I got this email yesterday. So today, Tuesday, Bernie is introducing a budget amendment that would prevent Senate Republicans from breaking Donald Trump's campaign promise to make no cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Will you help make sure that enough senators support this amendment so that it'll be passed? And there's a link in there to a toll-free number that you can use to call Congress. And that number is 877-826-4344. Although most people don't need toll-free numbers anymore. Most people have unlimited or plenty of minutes on their phones and whatnot. And so the direct line into Congress is 202-225-3121. And, if you read the Our Revolution page, it says, call your senator to tell them to support Bernie's budget amendment to prevent Republicans from making cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So please, may I encourage you right now, write down this phone number, 202-225-3121, or if you need a toll-free number, 877-826-4344, 877-826-4344. And this gets you right through to the Senate switchboard. And then you can just say, hey, I'm from wherever, and I'd like to talk to my senator. And I had to say for wherever, because I was thinking, who's my senator? And then, oh yeah, I live in D.C. I don't have a senator. But in any case, that's a whole nother rant. So he says the talking points, what you can say about why we must protect Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. These are the bullet points. The Republican budget proposal could lead to 30 million Americans losing their health insurance. It's unacceptable for Republicans to throw tens of millions of Americans off their health care plans with nothing to replace it. Republican attempts to privatize Medicare put seniors at risk. Cutting Medicaid could threaten nursing home care for millions of seniors. Many Americans already struggle to cover the cost of their prescriptions, and the budget proposal would lead to increased prescription drug costs. The majority of seniors rely on Social Security benefits as their primary source of income. Donald Trump promised during his campaign that he would not allow Republicans to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And frankly, I believe that that's why a lot of people a lot of independents voted for Donald Trump. Again, I keep saying this because with regard to the social safety net and international trade, Donald Trump ran as a Democrat. In fact, as a populist Democrat. And then back to the talking points, Donald Trump promised during his campaign he would not allow these cuts. Republicans should stop wasting time trying to take away crucial health care coverage and benefits. Bernie's amendment would prevent the Senate from breaking Donald Trump's campaign promises to not cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So if you want to call your member of Congress, your senator, this is two senators, specifically that Bernie is calling for, at 877-826-4344 or 202-225-3121, and you get through, and you have an interesting experience, feel free to give us a call and tell us what you learned.